And cheers. It's quite much longer than I anticipated. I did not anticipate that. I'm going to fill this up. Welcome, young adults, to our 9th episode of Thirsty Thursdays. I'm Jessica Mitchell and excited to be with you. Some of you know my story. About a year ago, I felt God calling me out of Salem, Oregon, and I moved to New York City to pursue seminary. Fast forward to March, I actually flew out here to attend a conference in Portland and came for a 7-day business trip, and here I am in Salem, Oregon, 70 days later. To say things have turned out unexpected would be an understatement. And so I think in crisis, doubts kind of rise and questions, and so I've really been wondering, God, what was your purpose? Why the timing of this time to send me just to have me be stuck here? And while I'm thankful that I'm here and safe and with family, it isn't easy. So during these times, I've been reflecting a bit on the life of Moses and his journey and the ups and downs that came with his story. And so I was reading, and I've always struggled with the fact that he never got to enter into the promised land. And I was reading Deuteronomy 34 again and feeling that angst, because in some ways I felt like I related to Moses. I had that opportunity to walk up the mountain where God leads him to see the promised land, but not enter in, and that resonated with me. But this time I continued to read on, and it says this as the story continues. It talks about how Moses died, not entering the promised land, but it continues on and says in the last few sentences, "There has never been another prophet in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. The Lord sent him to perform all the miraculous signs and wonders in the land. With mighty power, he performed these things in the sight of all of Israel." And it got me thinking that I'm sure as Moses stood up there looking over the promised land, there was frustration, disappointment, but I think he was more content than maybe I thought. As we see in those final words that he had a face-to-face relationship with God. He was walking through the desert. He experienced manna, blessing coming down in the middle of chaos and crisis. And so right now I've just realized with me, moving to New York City, going to seminary, in some ways that was my promised land. And I was holding on to that in some ways as an idol. My calling, the next step, the big achievement, and far too often I hang on to that and I dismiss the invitations of intimacy, of face-to-face with God. So I don't know what it is that you feel like you haven't been able to enter into. What's your promised land? Maybe it was graduation that you feel like you were waiting for, but you never got to experience, or a new job and now there's a hiring freeze, or starting a family, or whatever it is. We all have these things similar to Moses that we're looking towards. It's our promised land, and maybe right now we didn't get to go in. So I don't know if I'm going to be here for another day or another year. Who knows? And in the process, I don't want to look back and think of this time as just a hard time that I had to get over. I want to look back and see, similar to how Moses did, it's an opportunity to be face to face with God, to learn, to grow, to be transformed and changed. I don't want to miss whatever he's teaching in this time. So whatever it is for you, I encourage you, look around, find the blessing, find the manna in the middle of this crazy time none of us know how to do. And he will be faithful. There may be a different promised land. Whatever it is, there will always be something more, but don't miss the opportunities of drawing close to him. Happy Thirsty Thursday.